Hi, I'm Del Hungerford with Healing Frequencies Music. And one of the things I like to do is when people put comments in the various or underneath the various YouTube videos asking for more information, I would like to deliver. So I keep getting asked questions about the musical frequencies of the Hebrew letters and to just be a little bit more general. I think that academics, sometimes we can get so what I'm doing is in this particular video, I am just going to go over the basic things about the musical frequencies of the Hebrew letters, just to give you an idea of where my brain was going when I figured this all out. This was my own discovery based on years of research that I started, I believe, in 2013, and it is now 2024. And just really quickly, we'll walk you through the process of what I use to figure out if what I'm finding is workable or not. So without further ado, we're going to our favorite thing, a slide presentation. So I have to share screen. Okay, so we're going to start from the beginning. As you know, it's the very good place to start. Come on, you're going to do it. There goes the curtain. Woohoo! So Hebrew letters, frequencies, these are the cliff notes, the basics, and there will be links below this video that if you really want to geek out on it, all of that stuff is explained in blog posts and on other YouTube videos that I've done. Next slide. Whenever I'm doing research, and I'm hoping that this is what scientists and other researchers do, you look for patterns, you look for cycles. Can you find connections other places in nature? And what other disciplines can it connect to? So for example, music connects with math. Music connects with other frequencies, like you can connect musical frequencies to colors. So everything can be put into a hertz, which is where we hear sound. Those are hertz frequencies. Other frequencies are higher or lower than our hearing range. So you look for all the connecting dots to see how things are connected. Whenever I am looking at something new, this is the formula that I use to do so. My research process with the musical frequencies of the Hebrew letters, I found many books on this subject. And I also looked at Hebrew cantillation, which I'm going to explain that in a minute. I watched many videos by rabbis talking about the Hebrew letters. I chose to go directly to the source because Hebrew rabbis are the ones who are actually going to understand the Hebrew language, and the Hebrew alphabet better than anyone else because they've lived it their entire life. So that was where I started. Not that I didn't listen to other things, but that was my beginning place. Then research began with credible sources within the Hebrew community. And here's a few terms. We're just getting those out of the way. Gematria is where you are assigning a number to a letter. I do believe that there is credible evidence to show that the Hebrew nation is the group that actually first began assigning a letter to a number. And excuse me, I know that there are some that say that's not possible, but I think that some of the research I have found has shown that. So basically, you take a letter, you give it a number. Cantillation, those are the marks or above or below each of the Hebrew letters that determine how the word is pronounced and spoken with a pitch in ritual prayers and responses. The harmonic series, this is the natural law of how all frequency is created, how it works. This is both musical and non-musical frequencies. Hertz frequency is the exact number of vibrations per second in every sound that is within the hearing range. So here's an example of the Hebrew Gematria. They read everything from right to left. So that's why the letter Aleph is on the right-hand side. And you'll notice that the first 9 letters are assigned 1 to 9. Then the second 9 letters are 10 to 90. And the final 9 letters are 100 to 900. And this includes the final 5 versions of final forms, like final mem. This is final mem. This is final tzadi. This is final noon. So there's a regular noon. There's a final noon. There is regular noon. There's final noon. And they look different. So as far, I mean, here is regular tzadi and here is final tzadi. They look different. So I can understand when they look different, you assign them a different number, which gives them a different frequency. Then this is an example of Hebrew cantillation. And this came from congregation Or Atid. I'm not sure how to say it. And it's oratid.org. ORATID.org. Here's an example. You can go to the website and you look under Torah, or you can type in cantillation in the search bar, and this comes up. So for example, the soft pasek clause would be sung like this, and they have an example of somebody singing it. These are the little indications. As you look at the letters, you see those marks. That tells you which phrase to use under that particular phrase in the Torah. And this is how they sing the Torah. And it's congregational singing along with the, I can't remember the name of the person who's the actual one who sings them out. They have a name for it, but I can't remember it right now. The next thing, here's the musical harmonic series. The right-hand side is taking a string, dividing it in half, dividing it in third, dividing it in fourths, fifths, sixths, and sevenths. So if you take the first one and you divide it in half, you get the note C. So we're just starting from C. All right, now you divide it in thirds, you get the note G. You divide it in fourths, you get the note C again. And so far up here. It's gone up to the 7th, which is a B flat in this case. So this is the first harmonic, second harmonic, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and it goes to infinity. And the intervals get closer together and the ratios get weirder and weirder as you go higher. But these are the main ones that are in every sound. That's how you can tell the difference between my voice and a cat's meow. You know, I could sing a note, and I had a cat who used to be able to match pitch. And if he could sing it and I'd sing it, you'd know the difference between me and the cat because of the different harmonics that are in our voices. We call those voice prints. Every musical instrument has its own voice print, depending on which harmonics are stronger or weaker. All right, moving forward. This is what I found. The Hebrew letters are based on key signatures, not specific notes, but they're using the notes within that key. And the final forms of certain Hebrew letters are assigned their own Hertz number to complete the cycle, which you saw earlier, and I'll bring that picture back in a minute. So we're including the final forms, and you'll see why here in a bit. There are 3 separate harmonic series represented in the Hebrew letters. I had this sitting in front of me for 2 years before I realized what I had, because I go back to expectations. If we have an expectation of how something should turn out, chances are we're going to miss it. And it sat in front of me for 2 years, and I missed it until I changed my thinking and began to look at it in a broader perspective, because I had an expectation of what I thought it was going to look like. And good researchers, that's what we're supposed to do. All right, and the last point is the final letter has the same key as the first, which completes the cycle. This lines up with Hebrew thinking that everything is cyclical. So once I had all of these pieces, I knew I was onto something, because I found the pattern, I found the cycle, and it matched up with Hebrew thinking. I'm in the process of trying to match it with other things. So here they are. So Aleph to Tet are the first, are 1 to 9. Then Yod to Tzadi are 10 to 90. And Kuf to final Tzadi are 100 to 900. And there are a variety of forms. I think they say there's 22 different ways. There's small number, large number. I can't even remember all the names of the Gematria, but I believe this one might be called large number Gematria, which that's adding the final forms and giving them their own number. And again, here is that same list. So this is the last letter of the alphabet, which is Tav. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I just touched it. So here's Aleph. Here's Tav. Here are the final forms of other letters that are over here. And as I said before, Tzadi and final Tzadi look different, so I could understand, and they have a different function because they're ending a word. You only find the final forms of letters at the end of certain words. So therefore, their meaning is going to be slightly different, which to me means you should assign them a different number. Now let's take a look at the comparison between the first 9 letters and the harmonic series. I'm using the one that's in the key of C, because if you take 1 hertz and you look at it, well, that is a C in the 432 concert pitch. Notice C is Aleph, which is the first harmonic. C is Beit, which is the number 2. When you turn it into a hertz, it's an octave of the C. There's your C there. 3, when you turn it into a hertz number, is a G. Look, there's your G. 4, that's the number 4 for the Gematria of Dalet. His is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are the numbers assigned. So I just took those numbers, turned them into hertz. So let's look at 4. 4 is 2 octaves higher. And look at, we've got another C. This is our 3rd C. Then Hey is the number, what is that? That's 5, which is the note E. So 5 hertz, when it becomes the note E. Then G again, which is a doubling of 3. This is the 6th letter. This is the 3rd letter. Notice there's your G. Then the 7th one that I have here is a B flat, which if you take the 7 hertz, it's a B flat. It's the 7th letter. Het is the 8th letter, which is a duplication of 1, 2, 4, 8. Those are all C's. They're octaves. Octaves are doubled. Tet, here's your D, which is the number 9. So 9 hertz is a D in the 432 concert pitch. And it's also the 9th letter of the alphabet. This shows the musical intervals, which, unless you are a musician, that probably won't mean a whole lot. But this is showing the first 10 harmonics within the letter Aleph. And you're going to notice that Aleph, Beit, Dalet, and Het all have the same key signature. And these are the main notes that are going to be important within that key signature, which if you're looking at music, that represents your standard chord progressions that you're going to find in all Western music, which is why they sound so harmonious, because they're the ones that we hear the strongest. It's where our ears and our being automatically gravitates. And so here's another connection between the musical the musical frequencies of the Hebrew letters with music in general. So review, we're looking for patterns plus a cycle. That equals probable answers. So you look at all the possibilities, even if they appear to be opposite of our current thinking. And I gave the example of how I had this sitting in front of me for 2 years before I realized what I had, because I needed to open up my mind to see a different possibility. Then you follow the pattern, go down the rabbit hole of whichever pattern you find until you find a cycle. Now, I'm pretty sure that most patterns have some kind of a cycle that goes with it. I have to think about that more. Then the next thing you have to ask is, how does it line up with natural laws? And then the last thing I do is as I go and I say, how does this connect to other disciplines outside of music? And you're going to see lots of connections. If you want much more detailed information, I have musical frequencies of the Hebrew letters part 1 on the YouTube. I have part 2, I have part 3, and I have the playlist to all 3 of those videos linked below. This is very technical information in these 3 videos, but if you just want the basics, this video is good enough. On the Healing Frequencies Music website, I basically explain Gematria in one blog post, which will be below. And then I explain how the tuning works. That link will also be below. And the musical frequencies, harmonics explained. So I go into more depth of all the things I'm saying here in those blog posts and in the videos. And also I have the musical frequencies of the Hebrew letters teaching, where you can just purchase the charts for $10. I put the first 9 letters here. If you want the rest of them, you can just pay $10, get the link below and just get those. But the full teaching, I actually demonstrate a couple of different ways that you can use take a word, let's say the word shalom or the word joy or peace, any of those words, and you can create music using those words. You can even create music using your name. And I've created many personal songs with taking and finding out what the Hebrew letters are in people's names and using those letters to create a song. So there's a lot of different ways, if you are a musician, that you can use these Hebrew letters. And the last thing is, make sure you visit the website at healingfrequenciesmusic.com for albums, teachings, coaching, personal music, research. That's all in the blog post, and there's a bunch more stuff, so go check it out. And I am going to stop sharing my screen. And again, this is just an introduction. It's the basic key points to the musical frequencies of the Hebrew letters. And if you have any more questions, or I didn't explain something well enough, put it in the link below and I'll see what I can do to get you more information. So thank you for this time, and we'll see you in the next video.